He was born into a family that influenced the development of Chinese history. He studied hotel management, yet he decided to follow his dream to be a singer. And when the whole industry was dominated by love songs, he decided to do a trilogy on Chinese history. Let's meet singer, artist, David Wong. And big welcome to you, David, to Icon. Welcome.
It's an honor.
Please take a seat. Thank you so much for this record. I know this is a limited edition.
Yes. First of all, thank you. It's a pleasure being here. There's only 1,894 of those.
And I've got one copy.
Yes, you
of
have
that.
one. Yes.
And I have this special serial number over here. It's actually my birthday.
Yes.
Whew.
Da-da-dang.
What a present.
you know it's yours. If it's missing and you find it, you know it's yours.
Absolutely. But what is even more intriguing is the theme, the name of this album. Tell us more about it. Actually, our viewers might not know much about this part of Chinese history.
Oh, okay. Jiawu is, of course, 1894's Sino-Japanese War. That's the official title, right? And growing up abroad, I wasn't very into Asian history or Chinese history.
Because you were born in Hong Kong, but you grew up in Hawaii.
I grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yes. So when later on, when I found out about it, I was so interested in the meaning of that period of history and what it meant to the whole world. It was such a turning point in Chinese history and world history.
It was 1894 to 1895.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that really, really excited me about if I were to write a big piece of music, 20 odd minutes of three different movements of you could say it's a little classical format. I would have to pick the right subject matter to do, and this one hit me right in the ears, bam, and I had to write it.
Well, it's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy.
It's a long one.
It's a long one.
20 minutes something?
Yes.
I mean, this is something unusual for an artist, say. In the pop world, in the modern music industry, who would want something like that?
I do.
Not your boss, maybe, not the label company.
Actually, it was funny. This record was done in total secrecy. No one heard a note until I was completely finished. Before I allowed the company to listen to it, and by that time it's too late. They had to get it out. So I was very fortunate to have done that at that time. And that was 2004, I believe. But at that time, I didn't know that it was a 60-year cycle.
Oh, yeah.
15年,
That's how we count years
Yes.
in China,
Yes.
in a traditional way.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I found out about it, I said, I'm already done with that. And all my best friends go, no, 2014 is 120 years commemoration.
2 cycles after that.
Yes. So we decided to put out the album in vinyl. Actually, this is the best, for me, the best sounding format that we still have in music. So we didn't get to do it the first time. It was CD and whatnot, old technology. So this time around, we decided vinyl and see how it goes.
Because that war, the Sino-Japanese War, that was so critical to China and to the whole nation, because China lost that war to Japan, and then it seemed everything went downward since then. Did you realize all the, the heaviness, say, when you were producing this album?
Remember, it is music. So I try to use a very light-handed approach musically to first interest them into listening to it. And if they were like me, and after they heard it and they were interested, then they will find out more about it, about that subject matter.
It could be risky sometimes if you choose something unusual in this market. What about this one, and what was the response like?
At that time, it was very risky, and it turned out to be very true. It was very risky.
Yeah.
But the response I've had from this piece of music over the years has been just phenomenal, and a lot of times it's really that response more than the commercial success. The response for the music is what really touches the composer in me, the creative artist in me.
that somehow describes your ultimate goal of doing your music, trying to reach to the hearts of the listeners, to your fans, actually.
Yes.
You don't really care about how much they sell. You do.
Honestly, I do not.
Absolutely.
I do not think of.
You don't.
I do not. That's the music business part. I try when that comes up, I try to stick in the music part, and there's other people taking care of the business part. Because a lot of times, if I wear that hat, it very naturally affects the music, and I hate that.
So in the end, in essence, you're still deep in your heart an artist, not just a singer.
Yes, I am. Okay, if I were to officially call myself, I would say I am a music composer. I'm a composer of music.
Okay.
That's my first love. Songs is part of it because sometimes the music is just not enough. Sometimes I have to say something, so I put words in there. So I'm a composer of music, and that's my trade and my craft and my love and my art. And because of that, I started, learning other instruments or learning how to do recording or production. All the other stuff is just to help me so I can write, so I can present what I have in my mind musically to the others.
The society is more open-minded, and then there are more willing and happier to accept what is coming out, what is new, what
Yes.
would be seen as unusual maybe 10 years ago.
Yes.
So probably you mentioned before this interview, you were also involved in doing this new version of Yellow River Concerto.
Oh, I just finished that the other day.
You did it?
I did it. I met violinist Li Shiqing back in 2008. We both performed for a Olympic event. I wrote a song, Wishing Star, for the Olympics, and he was performing. And I was backstage. When he finished, he came running up, and we were both in tuxedos, and we were both dripping, completely wet, because we just finished performing. Wow, completely wet. And I kept saying, bravo, bravo, I loved it. And he's going like, okay, oh, hi, hi. And that was the first meeting. A couple of years go by, I just found my new home and my new family in Beijing. I just joined Major Arts, which is 中文美节, Li Shiqing's management company. And just a couple of weeks ago, they called, this is the first thing we did. There's a Yellow River Concerto, 黄河大合唱. Are you interested in doing it? And I'm going like, I don't play violin. I don't do classical music. Well, what do you mean? They're going like, electric guitar. Let's go try this. I'm going like, electric guitar? I'll do anything
with Yellow River Concerto.
With Yellow River Concerto? And my motto is, I'll try anything once. So I did all my homework. I was studying the piece and stuff, and I was so happy the other day when I went to record it here in Beijing. The music director's going like, okay, that's quite, okay, you've done your homework, but I'm really interested in all that crazy stuff you do. So I'm going like, you want me to start jamming on this? He goes like, yeah. So we did. We spent all afternoon coming up with new stuff to complement a certain part of, I think it's the third movement.
So somehow I still get that impression you're still very much into history. You did this album, you did, the new project with Yellow River Concerto, and you're now planning to do your next project on the Xi'an incident. So it's still pretty much like, you're into Chinese history. But I can understand possibly, why you would want to do the Xi'an incident, because your family itself is very much connected to that. I mean, General Zhang.
Yes.
What do you call him?
I call him Da Gong Gong. He's grandfather's oldest brother.
Yeah.
So grandfather is Gong Gong.
Yes.
And grandfather's oldest brother is Da Gong Gong.
I mean, that incident changed Chinese history, and he is the one actually influenced the development of Chinese history.
Yes. And once again, when I was young, I didn't know about
You
any
didn't
of this
realize
stuff.
that?
No. The first time I realized who was from a book, I said, I know this guy. That picture's in our living room.
But is he the same guy?
Yes, it's the same guy. With the warlord stuff and everything. Because my parents are very low profile. We just never talked about that when we were young. this is a good one. When I was very young, first time I was in Taipei to visit, and I remember going out to dinner, and then there's bodyguards and guns in the front and bodyguards and guns in the back, and we're going out for fondue or something. We're going out for dinner, and I asked my mom, I go like, what's going on? Is big grandfather like a gangster or something? You know, it's like there's guns.
That's a good one.
And it's like that was when they started to explain. Okay, you know, he's from this family from the north and da da da. Just basic. So over the years, we learned more and more about it, and it wasn't until I was pretty grown up before I realized that part of the connection. And hopefully one day I could write something about that. That's the ultimate dream. I only have a few of these big historical pieces, and the one that's still out of my grasp is the one you mentioned, the Xi'an Shibian. That one.
Your future project.
Yes, that's going to be a tough one. But
what was it like?
What was
General Chang?
Ooh.
Your 大公公.
What little experience and little time I spent with him, because we were always in different countries and what have you. I always remember having dinner in Taipei when he was still under house arrest. Imagine this.
Yes.
He was still under house arrest. Huh. That's why the guys with guns, right? And we're having dinner, and I'm left-handed, so I usually get to sit on the left side. And I'll always remember, in the middle of dinner, he would go, bam, on my back, you know, the food coming out.
What was that for?
And he would go, 大卫啊, you know, 你要有骨气, okay? You must have spine, you must have character, okay? 钱没有用的, you know, money is pointless, okay? 你要爱国, you know, you must love your country. You must love the you know, being Chinese and that whole thing. And I'm going like, yes, sir.
But you were only 6, 7 years old.
I was a young boy. But that story actually to me really talks about how much this man stood for his principles.
Country, yeah.
How much he suffered, you know, 40-something years in house arrest and what have you. But none of that took away his love for his country, and none of that took away his real deep emotions about the Chinese people. And I think that is priceless, and we have to learn from that, and we have to try in our lifetime to live by those principles and act by those principles.
You mentioned you didn't study music.
No.
You didn't read scores, you didn't read...
No, I still don't know how to read.
Exactly, but how did you start? How did you realize, you know, this is what I wanted to do?
I used to paint when I was a kid. That was my passion, painting.
Okay.
And I won all kinds of national awards and what have you.
You could be a painter then.
Yes, or in architecture. And when I was young, I said, I'll design hotels. I'll design and
still in hotel.
Yes, sure, you know. And it was my art teacher that did it. He came in one day with a guitar, and he goes, "Can I leave this in your room?" I said, "Sure. Why?" And he goes, "My wife won't let me play guitar because she says he sounds horrible." So I'm like, "Okay, sure." So one day I grabbed it and I went to some friends of mine. They're a little older. They were starting a band, you know. So I said like, "Hey guys, I've got one of these. You know, let's play." And they're going like, oh, "We're already in a band. We're performing. You don't even know how to play. Get out of here," you know. So I was so mad at them for not joining me. I went home, I took one of my sister's albums, I still remember which one, and I spent 2 months learning every note. Every song.
Yourself?
Yes. I had no idea what I was doing. Okay? I just picked every note, even if it's wrong, but I just somehow learned to play all those songs in about a month and a half, 2 months. Then I went back to those two friends and I said, "Hey, what are you guys playing nowadays?" And you know, they're still playing the same song, right? Or part of a song. They can never finish one song. And I said, "Oh, I just recently learned how to play this and this and this." From that moment on, I was their guitar teacher.
往城市边缘开，把车窗都摇下来，用速度换一点痛快，孤单。被人 热闹的夜赶出来，却无从告白。是你留给我的悲哀，哦爱，让我变得看不开。哦爱，让我制造伤害。
A couple years after that, still in high school, I discovered the piano. Oh, that was it. It's
You just learned it by yourself once again.
Well, I was in choir. I was singing
Okay.
in the school choir, and I was working on something. So there's pianos around. And I sat down and I said, "This is it. The guitar doesn't make any sense at all. The guitar is really weird. If you want to play certain things, you can't reach it. It's a strange instrument. But the piano, this is great. It's all white or black, and you just gotta find it. If you find it, whatever you're thinking of, if you can find it, it's right there. It's so logical." So I started rearranging vocal works, and I started doing stuff, and all my teachers were going like, "You cannot rearrange Mozart. Don't rearrange Mozart," because I had no idea. So I was going, okay. Then I started doing my own stuff, and that became the major instrument.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, the music scene, also the industry, is still pretty much dominated by all these professionals. You know, when you release your first album, say, were they accepted well by the professionals?
The first one, no.
It was in English, basically.
The first
right?
one was in English.
Yeah.
And gosh, I almost forgot about that. I was signed to a new company. I was in Taipei to do a Chinese album.
Yeah.
Okay. All set. When it was done, somehow they said, "I don't know if they're ready for this. Why don't you just keep it in English?" I write in English. That's my first initial attack is in English. And I don't know what reason that became the first or all original English album ever. Okay, and that took about 10 years before people were going like, "You know that tune from your first album?" I'm going like, "You actually have that album?" A lot of people actually have that album, or since then they've been auctioning. You know, nowadays with the internet. They've been auctioning and what have you, and it's for me it was a real tipping point for my career. It's having come up with something and having it fall flat completely in terms of sales, in terms of commercial, what have you, and it was such a great album for me that I did not lose that excitement, and I jumped right into my second album, which is the first time I sang in Chinese. That's the 让每个人都心碎. That's the very first song.
Another signature sound.
Yes, that was the first one. It was first time I sang in Chinese, first time I recorded in Chinese, first time for everything. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, and that album is 100% me. All the instruments and all the arrangement and all that stuff. It's just something I wanted to do. So that was the one, and that took off. But that took off 6 months to a year after it came out. So I truly believe being a misunderstood artist has a lot of virtues, and I also believe it's those kind of material that can sustain. I mean, 让每个人心碎 is still like a top 10 song in the karaoke's, and there's still people re-recording it, cover versions of it. I'm so honored that I think there's 20-something versions of that. Lucky I'm in music, because music really knows no, I use the word boundaries again. Music has no limit. Creativity has no limit. And if we stick our necks out there and do it, it's either going to work, or it's not going to work, or it's going to work later, or it's going to, or what have you. And you can't please everybody. So the passion that I have for doing it, I think, comes through the music, because the response that I've had for all kinds of things, for songs, but has been that passion. It comes right back to me, and that's one of the main reasons why I do what I do.
你把我灌醉，你让我流泪，扛上了所有。
if you look at your early albums, or maybe the recent ones too, you do most your own sounds, basically, from music to lyrics and even to you know, all these instruments. You do it all by yourself. Why is that? Is it you don't trust others or what?
Oh, no. A good way of saying it is I'm a control freak. Okay, and I have this idea, and I'm gonna make it happen. The real reason is I just love doing all that stuff. There is a lonely part. Being a musician, that creative process is very lonely because by the time I interpret it, by the time I express it or describe it, it's lost a little meaning. And by the time that musician describes it or that's a third interpretation. And then I have to listen to it and go, is that what I really wanted? That's a fourth. And a lot of things by the second or whatever, you've lost a little bit, you've lost a little something. So I try to be really true to what I believe in, what I have in mind, and I really try to get that out there.
It's just like, you know, does that also explain why you would sometimes choose to redo the albums you did before every like 2-3 years?
There's only a few songs.
Okay.
There's only a few songs that I do that. And
like Fallout 44.
Like Fallout 44. There's a saying in the music world, it's like, you better be 100% sure of what you did, because the moment it goes out of the bottle, poof, you can't put it back in. You cannot do it again. Well, thank goodness we live in the modern world.
Yeah.
And thank goodness I'm my own boss now. And when there is a time and an opportunity, like Jiao or like 44, I keep thinking, you know, since that one was released, okay, there was always this one thing that if I could just put that one thing in, I would be happy. I would die happy. I think my listeners, new listeners, or the ones that's really into it already, I think they find something fresh in that too.
Well, your last album was in 2007, 2008?
Right around that time.
Yeah?
Yes.
It's called Passion?
Yes.
And it's been 7 years since then. And you only released like 8 albums in your career. That's not much.
Well, I guess a different. I'm not sure. I wasn't counting. But to answer this question, also another great question. 2008 was when I spent a lot of time in Beijing because of the Olympics and my son. But that was the year when I actually realized the music business as we know it is dead. It's dead, dying, whatever you want to call it. The value of music has dropped to the worst possible in history, if you ask me. Think about it. Since that period till now, the worldwide music business is based on music contests, singing contests, reality contests of music, which is a lot of old songs, great songs, not that much new stuff. There should be a new model. There should be a new way where a modern creative music artist can really do their work and let's put it this way, hopefully I can, in my case, make the oxymoron music business into something cool. You know, it's like it's working. I'm whatever I'm putting out, I'm being compensated for it in a right way, in a fair way, in a transparent way.
In other words, you're still composing, you're still creating. It's just
yes,
you're not releasing it your music in the way, in the old way, in
Right.
the album way.
Right. Certain things are going to come out very soon, and they're all new ways. I never stop writing. I write every day. This last period, if I may, I just finished the Yellow River thing, that song for Shao Shuai. I'm also working with Chen Xiaochun, Jordan, the actor, for his new single. It's a song. It's
He's
gonna be
also a
his-
singer, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he's released many albums. It's his new theme song. We're almost done with that. We're in production. A while back, I was also working on a song for Maggie Zhang. One day she said she really wants to get into the music thing. So we're trying that. It's still a work in progress. It's not done yet. And also, right before that, it was a song for Sylvia Chang, the director, Zhang Aijia.
Okay.
So a theme song for her. So recently I've been working on theme songs for artists, theme songs for television. I'm just starting, and this is the most exciting. Growing up in Hawaii, I've always had an affinity for indigenous people everywhere. And I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of the indigenous people in Taiwan, the Yuanzuming. So I wrote a new thing. It's for indigenous people worldwide. Okay, it's a theme song for them, hopefully. And I'm working on that. I'm going back next week to record all these little kids. There's like 40 of them. And they all speak their own different languages, you know. And so we're working on this fun projects that I believe with the new systems, it'll be a whole new way of presenting my new music to people.
What's your next major experiment?
My next is, I think it's almost time for the new stuff to go out that I've been working on the last 7 years.
Right.
Some of them is viable now. Some of them is like, oh, forget about that already. But the ones that's viable, the ones that still constantly in me, I think my next phase is to wrap that up and look for the right model and the right format, what have you, to get it out to the world. And I believe I'm in a good position now, especially with my new home. I keep saying that because, you know, finding the right people to work with is so important. And whatever crazy projects that come my way, I'll be working on that too. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be a gap of 7 years already or 8 years already, but your passion is still there.
Totally.
Always there.
Totally.
Look forward to that.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for your time.
It's my honor and a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for the album.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Are you feeling the right kind of fear all over again? Moreover, I'm fresh out of tears. Love of my life, look in my eyes. Isn't it wonderful? Locked up inside, this is my life, it's all I own. Watching you cry, hearing you lie, it's like a beating of my heart.